And welcome to Greater Dayton Live. I'm Dan Edwards from the new Soft Rock 92.9 WGTZ. Great to have you joining us here today, and we have an exciting program today. I love talking about this topic. We seem to be in every year and have the pleasure of talking with the Executive Director of, officially it's Fisher House Incorporated.
Fisher Nightingale House
Nightingale Incorporated. You guys keep adding names and houses, and we love it. It's Chris Stanley, everybody, and thank you, Chris, for what you do for this community, for joining us here, so we can tell everybody about the exciting news about what is happening in our community.
We appreciate the opportunity to come out and do that.
We love DATV and Greater Dayton Live, and they do a fantastic job of showcasing some of the good things happening in our community. And it's very important to do that because this is a great story, because this is people helping people, military families specifically, which this is a huge military town. And I guess the first place that we should start, Chris, is if someone's not familiar with the Fisher Nightingale homes, why don't we start there? What is that exactly?
Well, the Fisher houses are just like Ronald McDonald houses, compassionate care homes, except we have two on Wright-Pat that take care of the wounded, injured, and ill military men and women, veterans and their families. And we're looking forward to building one and opening up down at the Dayton VA Medical Center for the veterans and their families down there.
I mean, this is an exciting time for you and a very busy time for you as well. And it's kind of, you've already have two houses on Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, which my understanding is the Fisher Nightingale, the history, that was one of the first compassionate care homes in America, wasn't it?
The Nightingale House was the first compassionate care home in the Department of Defense. We opened that in May of 1990 through the vision of a captain named Gretchen Lietze. She was reassigned to Wright-Pat because her 6-year-old son, Tony, had leukemia. So she had a place to live, but as she was going through her treatment process with Tony, she saw families that were sleeping in waiting rooms, sleeping in their cars in the parking lot because they couldn't afford a hotel. And they were the lowest priority to get into the base building, the base hotel. So she envisioned a Ronald McDonald type house, and we opened that at Wright-Pat in May of 1990. The Fishers came along later in 1990 and were asked to build one house at Bethesda Naval Medical Center. They stepped up and said, we'll build three, one for the Army, one for the Navy, one for the Air Force. You just tell us where. And what started as a request for one and an offer of three. Fisher House number 71 opened up a couple months ago out in Long Beach.
Holy
and there's
cow.
4 that are under construction right now that will open this year.
Since 1990?
Yeah.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
Well, it just shows you the care of compassion that people have for this organization. How does it make you feel, Chris, to be able to, you're kind of the ambassador for our community. I mean, these homes see people from all over the world, and they come to this community, and they feel that outreach of love and care and compassion. How does that make you feel to be able to provide that along with your volunteers and staff?
Well, I came into the Air Force 39 years ago, and from the day I came into the Air Force, my career field, I was taking care of military men and women and their families. And I've continued that throughout my 24-year Air Force career, and then stepped in to work with the Fisher houses about 24 years ago. Became the executive director over 15 years ago, and we're doing more for our military men and women and their families. We're asking more of them these days than we ever have in past, and we're providing a great service to them. And it's been my experience through all these years that regardless of people's political affiliations and so on, they want to support our military men and women and their families. So this is a great opportunity to do it with the #1 rated charity in the United States that supports veterans.
Really? #1 rated?
Fisher House Foundation is the #1 rated charity.
And why do you think that is?
I think it's because, first of all, they're good stewards of the donations that they receive. Their overhead is about 5%. Locally,
which is incredible.
Locally, our nonprofit's at 4.7%. So we're very good stewards of our donations. And again, I think people want to support our military men and women and their families. You know, we send them off to war. It's not them that make the decisions, it's our elected officials that make that decision to send them off to war. And they are coming back with more serious injuries than anybody ever has in the past. And a lot of the injuries that they have and they come back with or surviving with, they wouldn't have survived in previous wars. And their families are bearing that burden of taking care of them and so on. And so I think that the American public recognizes the need and that they have a desire to help the military men.
Yeah, I think the level of compassion that we have for the military now, I mean, at least in my opinion, just seems to be very high. That we, like you say, I mean, I was in Chick-fil-A the other day, and people were thanking a military man for his service and their family there. And this is one way that we can do that. We can continue to show them and to care for them and to thank them for their service and quite honestly, what the sacrifice that they have given to us, many times a limb or even worse. So share with us, when a family comes to the Dayton area and they know they're going into the base hospital, then what happens from that process? And how do we get them from the hospital to one of the Fisher Nightingale homes?
Well, all the social workers at the medical center know of the Fisher House, and so they automatically make referrals over to us. And many times when they're being medevaced in by military medical aircraft, we know in advance, so we already make arrangements to get those families into the house. Otherwise, they're coming in from, they may be driving in from somewhere, 3 or 4 states away. They call, they make a reservation, we get them into the houses. Our average length of stay is 11 days. We have families that stay with us only for a few days while they're here for a quick treatment or some tests. But we've also had families stay with us for over a year while someone's receiving outpatient medical care.
And do they pay anything?
They don't pay a thing. The houses are built with private funds, they're operated with private funds, and the guests don't pay to stay. So, their bills at home don't go away when they come here and move into a Fisher House. Their rent or mortgage payments, their car payments, and all those things, they don't go away. So we're not going to add to the burden of charging them to stay. We cover those costs for them so that they can stay for free.
Helping military families, indeed, that's what it's all about. Now, when they get to the homes, I mean, there's obviously food provided. I guess there's a kitchen. They can provide their own food. They can
right.
cook
We're not a bed
meals.
and breakfast per se, but I caveat that with the fact that many groups will work through our house managers and schedule to come in, do a breakfast, lunch, or a dinner for the guests in the house. We just put up signs in the house that tell people on Wednesday night XYZ group is going to be here. This is the menu that they're going to provide. They'll be doing dinner at 6 p.m.
I see.
That type of thing. And then I also, because of the generosity of our supporters, kind of freak out some local restaurants. I'll go into a restaurant, the house managers will give me a list of restaurants they want gift cards for. I'll go into a restaurant, some 15 or 16-year-old kid working at the counter, can I help you, sir? And I'm like, yeah, I need to get some gift cards. And they're like, oh, okay, I can take care of that. How much do you need? And I'd say $1,500. And they'll go like, let me go get the manager.
Better check with the manager.
I'll be back. And so that's not so that the managers can give them to the guests and then go out and eat. So the managers can cater meals in to support the guests in the house.
It has to be touching when you go in and you see, I mean, just how readily people want to help these families. I mean, it has to make you feel good.
It does. It's my brother served in Vietnam, and he did a couple of tours in Vietnam, was wounded a couple of times while he was there. And, the way that our Vietnam veterans were treated versus how our military men and women are being treated today is so diametrically opposed.
Well, maybe that's why things have turned around and have gotten better, because we saw how pitifully we treated some of these returning veterans. And maybe we're trying to make it up, trying to do good. I hope that's the case, and to provide this safe haven. And you said the average is 11 days, and that adds up, doesn't it? Even just 11 days, but I can't imagine being there a year. You must get to know these people pretty darn well.
Well, the house managers do.
Yeah.
I'm, in charge of the nonprofit that raises the money to support the houses. I get to know some of the guests sometimes, but the managers know them very, very well, and the volunteers know them very, very well. And yeah, you can imagine, there's a YouTube video on our website of a family that came back from Germany. Mom was pregnant, high-risk pregnancy, had 4 daughters. They were with us for 7 months, and they used 4 bedrooms for 7 months.
4 bedrooms.
While they were with us, when their daughters became ill, she had to have a part of a kidney removed. And then when the baby was born, the baby had to have part of a lung removed. Well, if they had stayed in a local hotel and only used 2 rooms for that family of 6 before the baby was born, At $150 a night is the average rate out in the Wright-Patterson area, Beaver Creek, Fairborn area. That would have been $60,000 plus
Holy cow.
in a hotel, not in a home, not with a kitchen, not with laundry facilities and so on. So, you know, we're providing a phenomenal service for our military men and women and veterans.
For all ages.
All ages. It doesn't matter. They can be active duty, guard, reserve, retired, veterans. Anybody who's eligible to receive treatment in the Wright-Patterson Medical Center is eligible to stay in our Fisher houses. And then when the new house opens down to Dayton VA, we'll have that same type of thing.
All handicapped accessible.
Oh, 100% handicapped accessible. You've been in the new house when we opened it back in April of 11. Single story, 10,000 square foot, 12 bedrooms, 13 and a half handicapped accessible baths.
Beautiful facility, man.
$4 million home.
Laundry services are also available there for the families.
They have laundry rooms,
so you don't have to
commercial
go
size
out for
washers
that.
and dryers.
Everything, so they can focus on their loved one who's going through an ordeal. So there's no funding from the government on this. I think that's a question that people have. That Wright-Pat gives you, I mean, obviously it's on Wright-Pat, but they give you no money.
Well, the government owns the house. So when the house is built by the Fisher House Foundation, it's donated to the government, not to the nonprofit. So the government owns the house. So if a toilet backs up, a window breaks, air conditioning or heat goes out, the government owns that facility. They have to come in and fix that facility. But other than that, we do all the fundraising and take care of everything.
All right, well, I'm kind of excited to talk to you, get an update on the new Fisher House that's coming to the Dayton VA. Can you give us an update on where we stand there?
Well, I jokingly say to people, have you ever had to do paperwork with the United States government? It's not the quickest
Have you ever filled out taxes? I mean,
yeah, that's coming up, isn't it? Thanks for the reminder. But there's a lot of paperwork involved. You know, the Dayton VA is the third oldest soldiers' home, Veterans Administration site within the United States. It'll be 150 years old this September. And when you're building on a national historic landmark, there's a lot of paperwork involved. We've gotten through all that paperwork. The contracts are being awarded to prepare the site, and once the site is prepared, it'll be turned over to the Fisher House Foundation to come in. So we're hopeful for a groundbreaking ceremony in July of this year and an opening in the summer of 2018.
kind of begs the question, why haven't we done this before? I guess we've got 2 on the base and we just realized that, you know, we're not doing enough for our veterans, or how did that whole thought process come down?
Well, it's kind of unique. The Secretary of the VA determines which facilities that he wants Fisher houses located at, and Dayton was never on the list. And in July of 2015, I took a representative from a local family foundation on a tour of our Fisher houses. From there, we went over and met with the installation commander, and then they went down to the Dayton VA, met with the CEO down there, Glenn Costi. And they said, what can we do for our veterans? And Glenn said, get us a Fisher house. So within a few days, the foundation wrote a letter to the Fisher House Foundation and said, if you will build a Fisher House at the Dayton VA Medical Center, we'll donate $1.075 million towards the construction. And immediately the Fisher House Foundation stepped up and said yes, told the VA to complete the paperwork, get it signed by the Secretary of the VA. They did that, and it got onto the list and a priority on the list. So
that's awesome.
That's how we ended up getting one here.
Now, I don't know this, but I'm assuming that Dayton, per capita, I mean, we have 3. How many communities our size have 3?
Well, not our size, but you know, there's in San Antonio, there's 4 at Brooke Army Medical Center, now known as San Antonio Area Military Medical Center of Fort Sam Houston. Then there's 1 at the VA, and they're going to be getting a second one there in the future. And there's 3 over at Lackland Air Force Base. So they as a community have 8 houses right now down there. Wow. But you know, they're a much larger community than the Dayton community. So I would say per capita, we're very blessed here in Dayton.
You said Keesler has 3, or?
Keesler's getting ready to have their second house.
Their second house, okay. My point being, we should feel very proud of what's happening in this community.
We should feel proud of that, and the nonprofit that I'm the executive director for, Fisher Nightingale Houses Incorporated, is the first one within the network to step up and say, we will support a second geographically separated location. So we're kind of plowing some new ground on that by stepping up and saying we're doing that. But we've been around for 27 years, and we have a good a reputation and a good history, and didn't see a need to have somebody establish a separate nonprofit to support the Dayton VA.
So are you getting phone calls from other executive directors saying, Chris, how did you do that? We need to get another one too.
Well, no, we meet annually up in DC, so I'll have another meeting in August up there. We did discuss it last year, but I'm not sure everybody's really necessarily willing to step up and do that.
Well, you had no more hair to lose, so what?
That's right, and it can't get any whiter.
Well, anyway, we talk about feeling proud about this, and here's the opportunity for you to step up and to be a part of this. I mean, we've got great people in leadership roles. You've got a couple of 3-star generals on the board. You've got some power, some firepower there on the board, but it doesn't happen without those folks on the ground raising those funds. Because what was it? Is it $38 a night?
$38 covers 1 bedroom for 1 night.
1 bedroom for 1 night.
Yeah.
And so you have different levels of people generating money for this. But I think the first thing we want to talk about before we get to where to go to make a donation is talk about some of the fun events that you have coming up, fun fundraisers, if you will. First off is the ROTC Red, White, and Run, and that's coming up April 22nd. Is that a new fundraiser?
That is a new fundraiser. Okay. There's a ROTC cadet, Air Force ROTC, but she goes to the University of Dayton, UD. She stepped up and wanted to do this, and cool. Tom Archdeacon had done an article in the Dayton Daily News probably 3 or 4 months ago about a Lieutenant Colonel retired Chuck Schrutzman from this area. Used to be the ROTC commander down at UD. Now has Lou Gehrig's disease, and they did an article on him. So Emma Remsen, the cadet, has reached out to Colonel Schrutzman, and he has agreed to allow them to do that in his honor. And those funds will go to are earmarked for the Dayton VA Medical Center Fisher House. So
at Wright State University, April 22nd, and I'm assuming all the registration information is on the Fisher Nightingale website. It is. Okay. Yeah. And then a week later, we have the All-American Evening that I'm always tickled to be a part of. Jim Booker and myself and you, and we have a great time. And this year's theme is a night at the movies.
Yep. We change our sub-theme each year. This is our 14th annual one. So yes,
14th annual.
This one is a night at the movies, and it's really just a big party. What I tell people is, in all my time in the military, I put together a lot of military banquets. I emceed a lot of military banquets. Right. You stand when I tell you to stand. You sit when I tell you to sit. You sit where I tell you to sit, and all those things. Very structured, and there's a reason for that. Sure. Our event is business casual, patriotic, or themed attire. So we may see some people come as their favorite movie characters this year. It's an all-you-can-eat gourmet buffet. You've had it. It's fantastic.
It's awesome.
Beer, wine, soda, water, including the price of the ticket. We don't even bring a pay-as-you-go bar. Silent auction, live auction, entertainment, and I think having you there, providing our music, and Booker there, and the 3 of us will just have a great time every year. We have a great time.
We really do. Great music.
And it's our largest fundraiser of the year, so it's very
And I know it's always supported very well. And again, that is April 29th at the National Museum of the United States Air Force, and it's there in the
Modern Flight
Air Gallery there, and it's just a spectacular venue to be a part of. So we hope that you'll be joining us again. That is April 29th. As the one thing that really touched me last year, and I'm glad to see us returning this year, was the Wounded Warriors amputee softball team. Coming back. We talked about
They're coming back to Dayton again this year.
My word, that was pretty emotional how you put that together last year.
It was. We have a great group of folks led by a couple of guys, Scott Keenan and Tim, and they do a fantastic job hosting them. Last year they had a very short time to pull this off. From learning that they could get them here until we did it on Armed Forces Day in May. This year, they're coming in 13th through the 15th of October. We're still working all the details, but the committee's already working hard. These are some real American heroes, You know, fantastic kids. One of the guys who came in last year had just been at the Invictus Games the week before that Prince Harry puts on. They were down in Orlando, Florida. He won a couple of medals down there, including a gold medal in one of the events he participated in. And the following weekend, he was here in Dayton. You know, some of them are single amputees, some of them are double amputees. And we had 2 games last year, one against the local police and fire department, Wright-Pat, and the local community, and a second game against what they call the Legends of Dayton, the 60 and over softball players. The people I say are the ones who really know how to play softball. They know how to put it into play instead of the young guys who always want to go for the fence, you know. And they were just the nicest group of guys that came out here and supported us. And so they're coming back into Dayton, and the softball community is getting behind it already, and they're planning and making, you know, doing some fundraisers to offset the costs so that they can donate money to Fisher House. But this year they're also supporting the group that takes our veterans up to honor flight that takes our veterans up to Washington,
Which was
D.C.
started right here in the Dayton region.
Started right here in the Dayton region also. So people can designate that they want some to go to us, they want it to go to them, or undesignated funds will be split between the organizations.
Now, last year, my understanding, my memory was at Wright State, and this year it's going to be at Fifth Third Field?
No, we haven't locked down a location yet. They're actually trying to get the fields down at UD. But we haven't locked down a location for you.
Okay, very good. Well, as it's October's a ways away.
Yeah, we still got some time on that one.
We'll be able to get to that. All right, so let's now talk about, you know, hopefully one of these 3 events maybe fits into your schedule and you can be a part of this. But if somebody's watching right now just wants to make a donation, feels so moved by what you're doing, what this organization is doing, and what this community is doing, how can they be a part of it?
Well, the easiest way is to go to our website, fnhi.org. And there's a tab on there that says donate. And on that donate tab, it gives them various options. They can donate online, they can print off a form and mail in a donation, they can call me and run a credit card through us. So there's a variety of ways that people can donate. We have a membership program. We recognize them for their donation, obviously for their tax purposes. Sure. But we appreciate the support that we get from them, and so we want to recognize them.
Or maybe you just want to send a check for $38 to take care of one night for one family.
And that address is on that donate tab.
You know?
Yep.
I mean, you know, if you're not Mr. Got Rocks, and you just do what you can, and it all, like you say, it all adds up.
Well, then I try to translate out that $38 figure. The way we come up with that is you take our annual budget, divide it by the number of nights that we have, bedrooms. We have 21 bedrooms right now. That's 7,665 nights. You divide that into our budget, and that's how you come up with a fee, you know, or a figure. The reason I do that is because some people will come in and give us a check for $50 or $100, and they'll go, you know, I'd like to do more, but this is all I can do. And I want them to understand the significance of that donation that they're making. You know, we're good stewards of donations. The $38 is not a lot of money to, you know, to cover each of the rooms per night. But it gives them an idea that we don't do this in big bites. You know, yes, the All-American Evening will be a significant financial impact for us, but we do it through small bites at a time and through various generous donors, whether that donor be can send us $25 or $50, $100, $500, whatever the case may be. But I don't want to diminish the fact that somebody feels like that they give a small donation.
Absolutely.
Every donation makes a difference.
Absolutely. And also, is there a donation of time? Are you looking for volunteers in any aspect of the organization?
Well, you know, if you're trying to volunteer at the Fisher Houses on Wright-Pat, you have to have access to the base or work that through the house managers to get access to the base. But we do have, we recognize people for donations in kind as well as donations of volunteer time. So besides the financial donation, we recognize people's time is worth something, and we recognize that too.
All right, once again, let's share with them the address where they go to make a donation or to find out more information. I know we're going to put up a full screen of this here for make it easy on people, but if it's Fisher Mangill House.
FNHI.org.
.org. Okay, Dan's got it. Hopefully you do too at home. But anyway, the case, just a wonderful organization, ladies and gentlemen, and you're going to hear a lot about it in the future. We're so excited about the third house coming.
We are too.
And what it's going to mean for those veterans. What do you think it means? You know, you're a veteran. What do you think it means for these families to come to this community, to see a community that opens its arms, man?
Well, I think it's very significant to see, you know, because they may be coming from a small community that, you know, in a rural area, and people there don't even recognize or realize that they're veterans or that they serve, because less than 1% of the entire population of the United States ever serves in, you know, in the military. And they come here, and to know that the Miami Valley people are very supportive of them is significant. The significance of the new Dayton VA house. Think about, where's the closest hotel to the Dayton VA Medical Center?
Yeah, I mean,
it's the Marriott down at UD. That's the closest hotel. We're going to build a Fisher House that's about 150 yards from the side door of the medical center, so those family members can be very close to their veteran. When they're tired, they can go back and rest and recover in their room. But you know, they're not far away, and they're a safe environment on the VA campus.
Man,
so
just the facilities that we have. You got the Ronald McDonald House taking care of families at Dayton Children's. Now we have a Ronald McDonald House basically with the Fisher Nightingale homes. I mean, that doesn't show love for a fellow man. I don't know what does.
It does.
How much we appreciate what the military is doing for this community. So, YouTube, if we want to find out some more videos, check out some more videos. We go to your YouTube channel.
There's a YouTube channel on our
link
website.
on your website. And probably the question everybody wants to know, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about the All-American Evening, a night at the movies. What character will you be dressed up as, Chris?
I think I'll be coming as the executive director of a nonprofit organization.
And that's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. We thank you so much, Chris Stanley, the executive director of Fisher Nightingale Homes Incorporated here in the Dayton area. And we thank you for watching Greater Dayton Live, and we encourage you to be a part of these very special evenings just ahead here in the Dayton region. I'm Dan Edwards from the New Soft Rock 92.9 WGTZ. You'll hear Chris Moore on my radio program, and maybe even a few of the Wounded Warriors when they come into town for the softball game. But anyway, stay tuned. More information just ahead. Enjoy your day.
Thanks, Dan.